morning, my name's Shoestring Jane. Welcome back to my channel. And normally I say I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and money saving. Today I'm just going to have a little catch up actually, because I have a really busy weekend. I've had a really busy week already, and I just thought I haven't got time to do a proper long video, so let's just have a catch up instead. So you find me, I am kind of up. I haven't made the bed or anything yet. I've got up, made a cup of tea, I've got dressed, and I'm just sitting in my bed. I often do this, go back to bed with a cup of tea. I think that's the ultimate luxury, but at least I'm dressed. It's a really rainy, dull July day. Nothing summery. I never know what to wear. I mean, I've kind of optimistically put this just very light little crochet top on that I've had long time with a little vest underneath it, because it's not actually cold, it's just really dull. So I've got lots to do today. I've got to do some cleaning and I don't want to get too hot. So it's a shame really. We've kind of lost that summer we had last week or so anyway. The last nice day I was stuck. It was election day, polling day, July the 4th, Independence Day for some of you. It was our general election day here in the UK. And I did what I very often do. I often work around any election that's going to happen. I don't always do the polling clerk, which is what I did this time. It's a really super long day. I had to get there at 6 a.m. to set up the polling station before it opened at 7, and then marking people off as they arrived all day or showing them the way to their tables because it was so busy. And in the end, my little team was me and our presiding officer and a couple of young lads who hadn't done it before, and they were really keen on the ticking people off bit, not quite so keen on the greeting people at the door and saying hello and asking which road they lived in and pointing them in the right direction. So I ended up doing a lot of that. So I was standing up a long time, and we didn't close until 10 o'clock, and then we had to quickly clear out all the furniture and put everything away. So I got home at about, I'm trying to think now, it was before 11, it was about 10:45, but I had been awake since 3:30 that morning, because you know how it is, you think, I've got to be up, and you're scared of sleeping through your alarm. Well, I am anyway. So I woke up at 3:30, I was thinking, no, I've still got a couple of hours, go back to bed, go back to sleep. And I just couldn't. I was just kind of tossing and turning and waiting for my alarm to go off, and I actually was awake when it went off, so I just got up and got going. But it did mean that it was a super long day on Thursday. Enjoyable though. I enjoy working as a poll clerk. It's very full on, and because it was a general election and because people were quite engaged, I mean, there still wasn't a massively high turnout, but I worked the local elections a couple of months ago in May, and it was quite quiet. But this was, all day there were people coming, and at one point we had people queuing right around the building to get in. We couldn't let them all in at once because it was just getting too busy. Everyone was getting in each other's way. So people were very patiently queuing. And luckily it was a sunny day and we won't leave them outside in the rain, because then we could have got some grumpy people. So yeah, so it was an interesting day. It's an interesting side hustle. So I'll obviously get an hourly rate, so I'll get a good whack of money at the end of the month, which will be nice. Normally I do the count on a general election, which is where you go in overnight. So I normally turn up about 10 p.m. and then you count all night until everything's counted. So when I've done that previously, I've only stayed until about, I think the latest I stayed was the last general, and that was till 3 a.m. So it's not such a long amount of time, and it's not so exhausting because you're literally just sitting there, whereas I was on my feet a lot. And it just meant that yesterday, Friday, I was absolutely whacked out. I felt quite leaden. And the thing is, I do have to conserve my energy. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I always think, I haven't got it because I can do things like that. But then the next day, I felt like lead, and I still feel absolutely shattered today. I went to bed at 8 o'clock. Woke up about midnight and thought, that's it, I can't go to sleep now. So I went and got myself a milky drink. And then I went back off to sleep again, and then I didn't wake up till 7, so I did sleep a lot. So I obviously needed to catch up, and now I need to catch up with myself. So I've got stuff to do today. I've got to actually do, because I didn't do anything yesterday apart from go for a blood test for myself, my thyroid. I'm hoping because I've had hypothyroidism and it went into remission, and I've had 3 months with no medication, and this will be a test as to whether it's actually properly in remission. Personally, I don't think it is. We'll see. So I had to have that blood test yesterday, and then my daughter had a little mini, it was only a tiny operation just on her arm. She asked if I could take her because she wasn't sure how she would feel afterwards about driving, and so I took her. That's all I did, and I drove home and managed dinner and a little bit of washing up, and that literally was all I did. So today I've got post to do. So I haven't sold a mass. I said when I did my last video on Wednesday that eBay had been really, really quiet and I couldn't rely on the income at all anymore. Since then, I've sold 2 whole things. I've sold 2 things on Vinted. So they weren't very high value things. So did do a load of listing. I did a load of listing on Wednesday. So that normally makes a big difference. Oh no, that's a lie. I sold another thing. So I sold one of the things that I'd listed, I immediately sold. So that was good. So actually it's 5 things that I've sold. So that is not quite as dire. Still not brilliant, but it's okay. Today I've got to do a bit of a clean and hoover. I've got to do a mini shop because I want to do a proper shop on Monday, but tomorrow I'm taking my mum and my youngest daughter Izzy. We are going to see Abba Voyage, however you pronounce that, in London. And I've seen this already, so I wasn't desperate to see it again, but it was really good. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed it, but I have seen it with Justin. But mum really, really wanted to go. So I said, okay, I'll take you. And we got that for her Christmas present. So I thought, well, she can't go by herself because she can't manage it. I think she's going to struggle with the step on the coach as it is. We're doing a coach tour, but her knees are so bad now with osteoarthritis. It's going to be quite fun trying to get her up on the coach. So we'll see how that goes. Down again, she might have to go up and down on her bum. Not very elegant when you're on a public coach, but still, we'll see how we go. Izzy then decided she would like to come, so she's coming with us. If I'd known that, I could have just sent them, but actually mum's deteriorated so much with her knees that I think she still probably would have wanted me there. So I'm going to go around to the shop and get some suitable things for food all day, because when we went last time, I've done a couple of coach trips to the theatre now, and you could try and buy something at the theatre, but it's hugely expensive. There's massive queues, and you just don't want to be spending all your time just queuing, do you? So I'm going to pack us something like quiche and a salad to have on our way home, something kind of dinnery, and some sandwiches to have whilst we're there or when we get there. I'm not sure. Well, it's a matinee performance, so we're leaving at 9:30 to get to London. So perhaps we'll have something on the coach before we go in. I'm not sure. We might eat something there. Can't take drinks in with us, but they haven't said anything about food. So hopefully we can take some food in with us. Yes, I've got to be organised about that. Make sure we've got enough food and drink. Got to do my post. I've got a library book that's going to be outstanding if I don't go and take that to the library while it's open. We have a part-time library here, and it always catches me out. I'm either busy when they're open, or I go trotting around there and think I can take my library book back and they're closed. So it's annoying, but I know they're open today, open Saturday morning, so I will do that. And the other thing I've got to do is just sort out, because I'm paying by cash, I haven't actually sorted out cash envelopes. I said I was doing cash envelopes. The envelopes, I actually bought some because I thought I don't just want random envelopes poking around my bag. I want a little wallet with some envelopes in it that I can take out with the week's shopping money. So they haven't arrived, but I have been using cash. So what I had to do was actually put a note on my debit card, cash, because I keep forgetting. You get so into just using your card, don't you? And I'm not back into thinking about using the cash. There's no point taking cash out at the beginning of the week to use if you then just walk around with it. So I'll use cash to get our food for tomorrow. And the other thing I've got to do is, because I want to do a proper shop on Monday at Lidl, is do my meal plan for the week and write my shopping list. So there's not much I need in between times, obviously the stuff I've mentioned for tomorrow. So I need to just see what we've got in already. I made the most delicious meal. I'm going to make it again this week. It was mushroom stroganoff which is using the recipe from my very, very old 1980s Cranks vegetarian cookbook. And I don't know what's different. I've made mushroom stroganoff before, or since I had that book, but it's the addition of some yeast extract, I think, because old veggie recipes think about your B vitamins and that kind of thing, and use a spoonful of yeast extract. And I did that, and it just made such a difference. It was so delicious that I'm definitely making that again this week. So that might be our Monday dinner. And I've still got a pot of sour cream is the other thing. Last week I bought 2 pots of sour cream because I thought I would use them both, and I ended up only needing the one. So yeah, so I've got that. I've got to use it, so I've got to use that quite quickly. So I'm going to do it again. And I'm doing a lot of vegetarian food at the moment. I have said this before in previous videos. I would just love to go vegetarian again at this point in time. I don't really like the thought of eating animals at this point in my life. I was like that as a teenager. I didn't eat meat. I didn't eat meat from the age of 16 to the age of 32. And then I had 2 children, and I had a husband who ate meat. And it was just so much trouble to be doing a different meal, because sometimes they wanted to eat meat. I wanted to give the kids their own, let them make their own decisions about whether they were vegetarian or not. But if my husband had still been veggie, I guess we would have all just carried on eating vegetarian meals. But it got kind of complicated. I was working. I thought, I can't be bothered to do these 3 meals. Other things kind of took over. I didn't want to be buying ready-made veggie meals, like corn type things for myself. So I stopped doing the vegetarian cooking, and I gradually started eating meat again. And now I've got kind of hypersensitive about everything. And I've never enjoyed, I'm not a great meat eater. I like fish and I like chicken, but I've never enjoyed a big steak or anything like that. If you put that in front of me, I'd rather have something else, I always think that's expensive and it's difficult to digest. So I've never been a massive fan of meat, so it's easy for me to do without it. So what I'm doing is I'm gradually phasing out meals with meat. The other day we had some minced beef. I made a bolognese. So Justin had the bolognese and I made myself a veggie version with pasta, and I've got half of that for him in the freezer. So again, he still wants to eat meat. So if I'm cooking, I'll occasionally do him some meat, but I'm gradually going to phase it out. I can't eat a lot of legumes. I can't eat lots of chickpeas and lentils and that kind of thing, because if I do, it really aggravates my IBS. I said all this the other day, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but you may not have seen my video the other day. So I don't want to just eat dairy. But if I could eat something like a mushroom stroganoff, fantastic. There's another mushroom recipe in there that I'd forgotten about, which is I think it was called a mushroom crisp or a mushroom crunch or something like that. And it was basically a mushroomy kind of sauce with a nutty, crispy topping, almost like a crumble or like a mini nut roast on top. That looks really nice. And even though I'm doing mushroom stroganoff, perhaps I'll do that towards the end of the week. I might put that on my meal plan. I'll have a look when I do it later. Oh, my tea's going cold. I always have my first cup of tea with real leaf tea. Can't have a lot of caffeine again, so I don't drink real leaf tea all day. I would otherwise if I was fine doing it, but I have decaf tea bags the rest of the day. And I have tried to buy decaf leaf tea, but it wasn't as good. It was really weak. I like a good strong cup of tea. It was really weak and it was really expensive. So I think, well, okay, I'll just buy decaf tea that I like and have 1 cup of real leaf tea at the beginning of the day and 1 cup of coffee mid-morning, real coffee. And then after that, that's my caffeine for the day. But yesterday when I took my daughter home after her mini-op, we went into the co-op and they had 2 lots of tea leaves, co-op own brand, which is good, reduced from, I think it was something like £2.30 to £1.40. So it was a reasonable reduction. So I bought 2 lots of those. I do have some in the cupboard already, but why not? It's not going to go off, is it? It's leaf tea. So it'll be a best before and I use it anyway. So yeah, so that's my plan for today. I do have to start my day with a bit of yoga. I have this ongoing problem where I've got some disc problems at the top of my back. Several years ago, I had a massive problem with a pinched nerve, which just put me out for about 3 months. I was in agony. It was the worst time of my life. It was like being in childbirth in terms of pain levels for 3 months. I was just crying. I was in agony. It was absolutely awful. And it is definitely playing up when I'm tired or when I've done a lot. And because obviously I stood up all day, was really, really busy doing the election. Yesterday it was complaining all day. I did do some yoga when I got up yesterday morning, and I'm going to do some very gentle stretches again today. I'm very conscious that I'm on the coach all day tomorrow, and goodness, I don't want that playing up all day. So I've really got to take care of this because I do not want it getting really bad. And if it starts, if this keeps going, I had it probably about a month ago, and I said to Justin then, if this keeps going, I'm going to have to book the osteopath and actually pay up for a few sessions. But I managed to kind of sort it out myself by doing daily stretches in yoga. It makes all the difference. And the other thing I really need to do is cut back on the sugar again, because sugar makes my joints hurt a lot. And with the tiredness and the stuffing my face with things like Mars bars whilst I was doing the election yesterday, every joint in my body was hurting. Particularly when I went to bed last night, I could feel every joint, my hip, my sacrum, all of my knees, everything was, and this shoulder was really, really bad. So I think cutting back on the sugar is an essential. So I've got to do that as well. And I'm hoping then I'll be able to avoid having to pay, £40-50 a go for the osteopath. But if I do have to, then I will have to, because there's no way I'm letting myself get that bad. Anyway, this very quick catch up has turned into a 16-minute warble. So there's not much else to tell you, except I'm just going to go and get on with my day. I hope you have a really, really nice weekend yourself, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.